So gender also has the feeling of what a waste of my time, and the other way, wow, what a great manager the manager could be. And as part of the personality is concerned, so the gender reacts in such a manner, and even situation also plays a role where the outcome after a meeting having a feeling with the male category as what a waste of time, and as far as a female category, wow, what a great manager. So admiration is also taking place depending on the situation and also the person's mindset while attending a meeting and after coming out of the meeting, whatever may be the duration. And so areas of gender differences at work has at least 8 to 9 factors, so which includes compassion, multitasking, communication, physical strength, decision making, career choices, risk taking, and perception. This looks beyond gender differences in labor market participation to gender difference in productivity and earnings across different sectors and jobs. It shows that despite significant progress in female labor force participation, use and access to inputs, and with market and institutional failures, traps women in low paying jobs and low productivity businesses. Breaking out of this productivity trap requires interventions that lift women's time constraints, increase their access to productive inputs, and correct market and institutional failures. Men's and women's jobs differ greatly across sectors, industries, occupations, types of jobs, and types of firms. While these differences evolve with economic development, the resulting changes in the structure of employment are not enough to eliminate employment segregation by gender. All over the world, women are concentrated in low productivity, low paying jobs. They work in small farms and run small firms. They are overrepresented among unpaid workers and in the informal sector, and they rarely rise to positions of power. While differences in worker characteristics, especially in human capital and returns, matter, it is primarily differences in jobs that account for the gender gaps in productivity and earnings. Three main factors lead to gender segregation in access to economic opportunities among farmers, entrepreneurs, and wage workers. Gender differences in terms or in time use, primarily resulting from differences in care responsibilities. Gender difference in access to productive inputs, particularly land and credit, and gender differences stemming from market and institutional failures. Women bear a disproportionate share of house and care responsibilities and consequently face important fixed costs associated with market work, fixed schedules and minimum hour requirements, and the difficulty in adjusting responsibilities at home. Social norms around the role of women also influence these trade-offs. Women are more likely to supply fewer hours of market work than men, putting them at risk of being channeled into lower quality jobs. Female farmers and entrepreneurs have less access to land and credit than men. This is due to barriers to market access, including discrimination and differential pricing in land and credit markets, and institutional constraints, including land rights and financial rules and regulations. Discrimination within households favor men in the allocation of productive resources, which translates into gender differences in scale of production, productivity, and investment and growth capacity. Women's limited presence in certain markets may create barriers to knowledge and learning about women's performance, which reinforces women's lack of access to these markets. The design and functioning of institutions may be intentionally or unintentionally biased against women in ways that perpetuate existing inequalities. Global aging implies that fewer workers will be supporting a growing population of the elderly in the decades to come. Unless labor force participation increases significantly among groups with low rates today, basically, women, successful interventions will depend on adequately identifying and targeting the most binding constraint in each context while acknowledging the problem of multiple constraints, perhaps by sequencing policies. So, these are the factors that is having a concern as far as the areas of gender difference at work, where people come across multiple things and how it can be managed. Knowledge is the theoretical understanding of a subject. It's what you have learned through education or work experience. For example, in building and construction, you will require knowledge of materials, methods, and the tools involved in the construction of repair or houses, buildings, or other structures such as highways and roads. Ability is synonymous with capability, potential, or capacity. It determines whether or not you possess the means to do something. For example, stamina is the ability to exert yourself physically over long periods of time without getting winded or out of breath. It is an essential ability for professions like fresh or fitness trainers, firefighters, or waiters or waitresses. For example, in the workplace, there are two kinds of skills: technical skills and soft skills. Knowing how to accomplish specific tasks like cooking, computer programming, or teaching are called the technical skills, and they relate to a particular occupation. You may have learned technical skills from past work experience, school, or training. These skills are often included in job listings to describe the task of a position, like build a cabinet, read an image, operate equipment, paint a portrait, write computer code, teach a lesson, investigate a scientific question, or sell products to customers. Employers also want employees who fit in and get along well in the workplace. That requires soft skills. These are so valuable that soft skills are often the reason employers decide whether to keep or promote an employee. Some soft skills can be taught in school, but most of that can be learned in everyday life and can improve at any time. So, which can include good communication skills, critical thinking, working well in a team, self-motivation, being flexible, determination and persistence, being a quick learner, and good time management. Thus, various qualities as far as the ability of an individual is taken into consideration right from education till the experience part to play a major role in the workplace. Even if your team is made up supremely talented individuals, there are always a few employees who stand out from the pack. According to the Harvard Business Review, an average of 5% of companies' workforce have high potential employees. These high potential employees, hippos, excel in their current roles, but they also possess the skills and knowledge necessary to thrive in managerial position and senior roles too. And high potential employees from the close source know that you recognize their potential. In fact, a recent study showed that 77% of high potential feel that being recognized as high potential talent is important to them. These workers can or want help in identifying a career path, and they also want support in carving that path. For these reasons, it is critical that managers identified high potentials early on in order to retain them and keep them engaged. Employees who identify top talent increase the likelihood of retaining top talent, and reaping the benefits of a more engaged employee. So, there are several benefits of having high potential in the team. First and foremost, they are likely to learn and progress faster, which means you are spending less money to develop them. Their rapid career growth also helps raise the bar of other employees. A little competition never hurt anyone. It is no surprise that studies repeatedly show companies that invest in the identification and development of high potentials show better performance financially. Finally, as high potential employees continue to climb in their career with your company, they are also able to spot and develop other high potentials. In turn, this creates a pipeline of star employees that can help your company thrive. So, how exactly can a manager go about identifying which of their workers have the most potential? And at least certain characteristics can be defined as high potential. They are good what they do, and